The world, as we know it, will soon come to an end.
Why? How about because this is the most important thing to ever happen in the history of the world? And the world is not prepared.
In an era marked by unprecedented technological advancements, ecological challenges, and geopolitical complexities, our world faces potential threats that carry the weight of existential consequences. In this episode, we will delve into the possible scenarios that could disrupt the course of human civilization. From emerging technologies to natural disasters and global conflicts, our journey will shed light on the perils we must confront to secure a safer tomorrow. This is Reveal the Mystery. If you are curious to learn mysteries of the world, space and beyond, consider subscribing. Asteroids. In the digital age, globalization has interconnected all of us, generally resulting in positive outcomes. However, is our modern interconnected world more vulnerable to complete disruption? Similar concerns have also infiltrated our approach to the natural world. Several potential scenarios pose a threat to all of us. Prominent among them are the possibilities of an asteroid impact or the eruption of a supervolcano. Astronomers, including a dedicated team at NASA, vigilantly monitor space objects within our solar system, and some of these objects are more worrisome than others. For instance, a relatively distant asteroid known as 101955 Bennu has a 1 in 1,800 chance of colliding with Earth between the years 2178 and 2290, with 2182 being the most probable year. However, given its size of less than a mile, Bennu is not expected to cause the extinction of humanity, but it might affect a portion of the population. Currently, there are no known incoming asteroids that pose a global threat. Nonetheless, history has witnessed instances of undetected asteroids passing close to Earth without prior notice, underscoring the potential for unexpected events. Technology. Technology, a field that we have been closely associated with for many decades, is not a new concept in itself. Entire civilizations throughout history have risen and fallen based on their technological advancements and innovations. However, by almost all standards, the 21st century has experienced a remarkable surge in technological progress, spanning from computing and AI to quantum processing, and from mobile devices to smart and augmented technologies. This progress has been so significant that the notion of the singularity, where artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence, has become widely recognized. However, it's essential to recognize that concerns extend beyond the apocalyptic vision of sentient robots taking over. What is known as Cybergeddon could manifest in various forms in the future. For instance, some foresee a future where our current reliance on digital technology leads to a complete erosion of privacy, with everyone having access to extensive personal information, including passwords, account details, voting choices, websites visited, and purchases made, among other things. This intrusion could be both embarrassing and invasive on one level, and potentially lead to activities like blackmail, the breakdown of law and order, manipulation of medical records, grounding, or even crashing of airplanes on another. From some viewpoints, it is possible that we may not even reach the more conventional AI singularity where machines surpass human capabilities. Instead, malicious actors may focus on institutions such as banks well before that point, triggering economic collapse, which in turn leads to issues like starvation, riots, disasters, and loss of life. Alternatively, hacktivists might infiltrate smart cities, disrupting transportation and energy supplies, once again resulting in riots, disasters, and potential loss of life. The underlying fear is that the conveniences we enjoy today, characterized by our interconnected world and seamless connectivity, may one day come at a significant and dire cost. When it comes to supervolcanoes, the chances of an eruption are relatively slim. While statistical analysis can suggest that Yellowstone, the most famous of them all, is overdue for an eruption, it's important to acknowledge that volcanic activity is seldom predictable. Driven by the complex and enigmatic convection processes within the Earth's molten mantle, it's impossible to determine precisely when any specific volcano will erupt. Furthermore, by some calculations, Yellowstone still has roughly 100,000 years before it can genuinely be considered late. Nevertheless, if it were to erupt at its absolute maximum potential, it could have catastrophic consequences. We have a dedicated video on this topic available on our channel, so make sure to watch it. As for a potential large-scale disaster that could affect us in the near future, there's the reportedly imminent Cascadia earthquake. While attention has long been focused on the more southern San Andreas fault line, with the big one frequently discussed, experts concur that the greatest risk of substantial damage lies further to the north, particularly in the westernmost region near the US-Canadian border. This area corresponds to the Cascadia subduction zone, where the oceanic Juan de Fuca plate is subducting beneath the continental North American plate. There is significant pressure building up in this region, and the direst predictions warn of earthquakes with a magnitude of 9.0 and tsunamis that could reach heights of over 100 feet. While not necessarily a global catastrophe, like an asteroid impact or a supervolcano eruption, a Cascadia earthquake would be devastating for the western coast of the United States and would send lethal repercussions across the Pacific Ocean. Lastly, we need to talk about the possibility of war. Throughout history, wars have been a sad part of human society. While the exact numbers may differ, all available data shows that, in the last 3,000 years or so, there have been only a few times without wars. True global peace is something we rarely see. What's worrying is that if this trend continues, we could be in serious trouble. The idea of nuclear war has been hanging over us since the end of the last World War, World War II. However, plain old nuclear warfare is not the only concern today. Most future predictions agree that nuclear weapons are still a major threat. There are about 10,000 active nuclear bombs in the world right now. However, it's not as simple as pressing a big red button to start a nuclear attack. Many scenarios for a possible World War III involve what's known as a hybrid war, which relies heavily on sneaky cyber tactics. These are essentially large-scale computer hacks, and there are fears that an aggressor could easily take over and control another country's nuclear weapons. Some nations have spent decades building these weapons and storing them, but now their control could be lost in an instant. This is the worst-case scenario in a hybrid war, but there are other ways it could happen. According to NATO, hybrid warfare involves a mix of traditional and unconventional tools and tactics. It's criticized for being vague, but one interpretation is that countries might fight and disrupt others as if they were far away, without traditional physical battles or clear declarations of war. They might bring a nation down through other means, such as spreading false information, manipulating elections, or secretly hacking and damaging critical infrastructure. At its core, a hybrid war aims to destroy trust between a nation and its people, turning people against one another and causing chaos. According to NATO, this leads to a dangerous erosion of core values like living together peacefully and the decision-making abilities of political leaders in democratic societies. When that happens, it can be said that a war has been fought and won without the usual risks and spectacle of a traditional physical conflict. Some experts believe that the world may already be caught up in a hybrid war or the beginning of one, with NATO pointing out that public trust in the US has dropped from 73% in the 1950s to 24% in 2021. Trust levels in Western Europe have also been decreasing since the 1970s. So what do you think? Which of these concerns is most likely to become a problem first? Could it be a major technology problem with far-reaching consequences? A massive natural disaster that could potentially harm or kill many people? Or the quiet start of a hybrid war, which even the best military strategists are still trying to fully understand? Or perhaps there's something else that we should pay even more attention to? For now, these are the possible future events that could threaten us all.